Hi, and welcome to our first ever podcast.
Welcome
With the
English sisters.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. We'll just be chatting about what we feel is going on and some of the things that we're thinking about. And also we want to share with you some of our experience as hypnotherapists, maybe to be able to help you guys as well.
Yeah, and just a little bit of common sense, really.
A lot of common sense. We were thinking about vulnerability, weren't we? And, you know, when you think of vulnerability, I mean, at least I do. I always think of Dr. Brené Brown. And you know, how...
So you're going to say Dr. House there.
Dr. House, he wasn't very good at covering up his vulnerability, was he? Well, he was.
Was aggressive.
He was very aggressive, yeah.
With his team. Was he aggressive with his patients?
Well, he showed lack of
empathy.
empathy.
I watched it a long time ago.
He showed total lack of empathy, but he was a brilliant genius at resolving their medical issues. So, in a way, I think he was probably protecting himself. Yeah, his vulnerable side was hidden away by this facade of being, you know, like...
Yeah, sort of covering it all up.
Covering it up, like what I think a lot of us do. He was either covering it up in his... kind of way, and
well, he's like he was always ready to sort of jump, wasn't he? Sort of to bite.
Yeah, he was like an angry dog, really. Yeah, but like a bit of a genius.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Dr. House. No, I was talking about Dr. Brené Brown.
Yes,
she's like the, you know, the expert in vulnerability.
Yes, of course.
And what she says, you know, is this dare to share thing.
Dare to share.
Yeah. I mean, and no wonder you say dare to share, because sharing can be quite scary, can't it? I mean, we don't like to share that much.
Well, we do share a lot, but not
about personal
maybe
stuff.
Personal stuff we don't really know.
No. That's more like, you know, within your own tribe, isn't it?
Because I think, I mean, what's the point really of just sharing everything, just blurting everything out to everyone?
Yeah, because then
I think if it helps you, it's good. Some people
will listen and be kind.
Yeah, be kind and be really helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose we're lucky. We can't really say much because we've got each other, that we're so close.
Yeah,
as
we've got a little tribe.
And colleagues.
Yeah.
But there's other people maybe that haven't got anyone, so it's more difficult for them maybe. If you haven't got anyone you're really close to, you may feel more the need to share it like with a wider audience.
On social media and stuff like that. But then afterwards you do have the risk of being attacked. Well, you know, that's what the definition of vulnerability is.
Well, what is the definition?
The definition, it's a quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or
touching
harmed.
your neck.
Either physically or emotionally. I mean... So obviously, if you're going to be sharing on social media, you could be attacked probably more emotionally.
Probably most likely you will be attacked if you're sharing a lot.
Yeah, well, like
I mean, that's the bad side of social media, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's also, I mean, you can also gather a tribe by sharing,
and your tribe will protect you,
and they'll support you. So. This vulnerability thing,
I think you have to be, but it depends, I think, how vulnerable you're actually feeling. Because if you're okay to take like heavy criticism or take like really nasty comments and things, if you're sharing online,
that's okay with you,
that's okay, if you can like take that, because like if you're really sensitive, like some of our clients that are really sensitive. And then they find that they might get like 100 really positive comments and one negative one or two.
Yeah, it just takes one negative.
Really, not even negative, but sometimes you get really horrible, really spiteful or like almost criminal comment, these really horrible things that people write.
Yeah.
And then you think, can you, if you're going to start losing sleep over it and start getting it's really going to affect you, is it really worth it sharing so much of yourself?
Yeah,
I suppose that it's a bit like what's it called? The scale. You have to sort of kind of weigh it up and see what. It
can be good for your mental health for you to share and to let your guard down.
Also, to feel better, it's a bit like a diary, isn't it? You're kind of like venting. You're
venting.
You're expressing yourself.
Well, it's like that expression they say: "Problem shared is a problem halved," isn't that it, or something like that?
A problem halved is a problem shared.
Well, no, I think it's a problem shared is a problem halved.
Okay. Well, it's half a problem.
Well, it's half a problem because you've like shared it and you've like unloaded your burden. You know, you let your guard down.
You get some good advice sometimes as well.
You get some good advice. Sometimes you get advice that you don't want. So, you know, what's the lesson here? Share with your tribe.
Share with care.
Share with care. That's it. That's a good one. Yeah, definitely. The lesson here is to share with care. I totally agree with that. Yeah. So dare to share, but share with care. So look who you're going to share with, who you're going to do, you know, expose yourself, who you're going to let your guard down. And then
think about maybe, do I really want to be thinking about this thing in 5 or 10 years' time? Because sometimes things can follow you on social media as well. You might be just going through a particular thing at a particular time, and then you don't want to be constantly reminded of that in the future.
Exactly, especially if you share a diagnosis or something, you know, something physical.
Afterwards, it can follow
sickness
you around for a long time, which can also be a good thing if you're willing for that to happen. But it can also
think about it carefully before.
Maybe like a bit like when you write an angry email. Don't write it straight away. Write it in a couple of days.
So what you mean is think
your
about
time
it before sharing it, and share with care.
Yeah.
Share with the right kind of group in the right kind of context. Yeah, definitely. You know, because that's true. Otherwise, you can have this vulnerability hangover that Brené Brown is going on about a lot, and she is so right.
I think she is right about
that hangover.
She's hit it on the nail.
She's totally hit it on the nail.
Because sometimes it can feel really good when you're actually doing it, and then the next day you're thinking, "Oh my goodness, what have I done?"
Exactly. Yeah, this is what it was
saying. And you can take it down. I mean, but it's still out there, kind of thing.
You have this horrible sense of embarrassment and regret, I think, which is not a feeling you want to get.
What did she say about it?
Well, what she said, the hangovers cause regret and embarrassment.
I suppose it's like a real hangover. It hurts.
It hurt, brava. That's it, yeah.
And you have to take something, don't you?
It says, I guess here, what she says is really that, okay, you've shared. Now, you may have not shared with care, you may have not shared, but you dared. You dared to share.
Well, that's already good for your confidence.
So that's what she says. And so she says, recognizing the fact that you dared to share as an act of bravery and embracing it. So once you've done it, just say, okay, I was courageous, I was brave, and I did it. And that's it. And then maybe next time, if you want to do it with the same group, you do it again. But if you are going to get these kind of hangovers because you overshared, then just share with care.
Well, I suppose it's a bit like a real hangover. I mean, you can do it once, but then afterwards,
you don't want to
when
have
you've
it all
had
the
your
time.
first hangover, you know what it feels like.
Once you've had
you want to have another one afterwards.
Some people do repeatedly just get drunk every weekend and have a hangover.
That's fine, and they accept the consequences.
They know what to do. They take the aspirin.
What do you do if it's a hangover online? I mean, you can't take aspirin.
If it's a hangover online, you just have to accept it and embrace it and think, okay, I shared.
And maybe take the post down or something, but the damages can already maybe have been done. You can still be getting comments for goodness knows how long afterwards.
Yeah, you will probably get comments for how long, but you will probably feel shame if you shared something that you're not really proud about or something, if...
Is that what she says? You feel shame?
Well, I think so. Well, she says you can feel regret. Letting go, apparently, is very unsettling at first because we're all taught not to let go, aren't we? Whereas we as hypnotherapists, we teach to let go, but let go inside your own mind. And that's why this is different for us.
No.
This is like a different realm, letting go on the outside. We encourage our clients to share with us. and that's about it, only with maybe some close family members. But this is like a different thing, what Brené Brown is doing, which is really good, I think, because otherwise even thinking about vulnerability would have never really...
Well, no one used to talk about anything like this before
Well, definitely not in the British society. It was all, be quiet and, just get on with it. That's the kind of culture we grew up in.
Dusted.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's done and dusted. Yeah, that's it. You don't want to go around feeling vulnerable now.
Well, I suppose if you do get a vulnerability hangover, you can just dust it away. That would be a good thing to do.
Yeah, dust the vulnerability hangover away. Yeah, accept it and just say,
because we all make mistakes, don't we? I mean, there's no point, I don't think, just going on and harping on about something you've already done.
No, there is absolutely no point. But the only thing is that, if you do get some news or something upsetting has happened to you, because normally you don't, if we're talking about dare to share, well, no, even if something really great happens to you, like you win the lottery or something, I suppose most people know that you shouldn't be sharing that information unless you want, family members from years and years ago suddenly appearing. That's what they say here in Italy, at least. But normally, don't you agree, unless...
Well, obviously. I mean, that's obvious, isn't it? You don't share things like that.
Well, what do you share?
I mean, you would, but of course you would want it. Imagine if you did win the lottery, for instance. You would obviously want to share that with your loved ones and everyone, because what's the point? And your friends.
Yeah.
What's the point of having something so wonderful happen to you?
But
I think
it's not for good, though, is it? I mean, I don't think vulnerability really. It's when you're taking your guard down. It's not. No,
that's nothing to do with it. Really.
Not really. No. No, it's more for the bad stuff, isn't it? Or for the...
No, I don't know. I think you have, reached a good
point there.
Come to a good point.
What?
Because it is about good things as well, because you might have had a promotion at work or something, or something could have happened to you.
Well,
you've just fallen in love with someone, with a colleague or something, and you share it, and then you think, why did I do that? Or maybe the other person doesn't feel the same as you do, and you hadn't really...
Oh, God, that's terrible. That is. Yeah,
sharing. You hadn't had time to think about it properly.
I think that's one of the worst ones. Is the first time you say I love you
terribly, and then you're mortally embarrassed afterwards.
Yeah, that's when you open up your heart and you say those 3 words, and then you just hope you're going to get the answer, but maybe it was too soon. And you just felt
I wasn't really talking about love. I was talking about not sharing it with the person you love.
Oh, I thought you mean like the first time you say I love you to someone.
Even then, but
I mean I think... Talk about taking your guard down, though. You're scared,
Yes,
that's
you're
really
terrified,
scary.
but then obviously you have to think about, the situation. Yeah, because you can scare someone off as well by telling them you love them. But it's also very sweet.
No, it's a darling. I mean, obviously, it's really sweet when you hear someone say it to you.
Yeah, but it can be scary for the other person if they're not ready. But I suppose there you have to have a few feelers. Now, what I meant was sharing the news about how you love someone to someone else.
Well, like a colleague in the office or something.
Like, say, if you're started going out with someone and then you're pretty confident, but then you can get all sorts of, people have got opinions on everything. Everyone wants to say something.
Yes.
And then sometimes it can get on your nerves a bit.
Yeah, it can. But then you've shared you've got to be acceptance. You've got to accept. You've got to accept. It was like you shared it. You dared to share. You were vulnerable, and now take the consequences. But in the end, this whole thing is, I think before we were not vulnerable enough as people, but now we're becoming.
Maybe that's a good point. Yeah, before we would always cover everything up, and it was always hiding everything. And now we're all opening up about our mental health and how we're feeling and everything. But sometimes we're a little bit too vulnerable, is what I'm wondering nowadays. Too vulnerable can have a backlash afterwards. Yeah, unexpected stress and anxiety can come from it.
From the being, I mean, like what's happened with many of our clients. Because it's good to be vulnerable, and well, it's not necessarily good to be vulnerable, but it's good to let your guard down and have a, be mentally healthy in that way that you can. so that you're like
to
emotionally
show like who
balanced.
you are.
Yes.
To show who you are.
To
Not
show
always
you-
to have to hide your feelings.
Exactly, to show who you are and to say, look, I'm actually feeling quite upset
Because that
now.
allows
This
people
is...
to become close to you as well.
Exactly. Otherwise, you've always got... How do people know what you're feeling if you're never vulnerable?
Exactly.
How do people really understand you? How can they
can't.
relate to you?
How can they help you?
They can't help you either. So...
But I think this whole thing started because we were saying it's good to share with your tribe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
good to
people you
share.
trust and confide in, but maybe not to the extended.
To the rest of the world if you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
Only share with the rest.
Only share with the rest of the world if you have taken care.
Yeah, you've taken a lot of care. Yeah. Being vulnerable can seem akin to stirring up a hornet's nest. Can you believe that?
Well, we had one out here, didn't
God,
we?
we've
It
got
was
hornet's
terrifying.
nests there. No, actually, I think they've
touched it. You're only allowed to touch them
Do
at
you know
night.
how many people go to
But
the
are they
medical...
protected now? I don't know.
I don't know if they're protected.
In Italy, they're not.
In Italy, I mean, people...
But I think some countries have protection for things like that now. You're
Well,
not allowed
we've
to
done
touch.
nothing to them
No.
except for the winter's come and now they seem to have gone. I just hope they've gone
You
now
have to
because
stay away from
they're in
them.
there in the garden.
They're very dangerous.
They're in a dead palm tree in the trunk.
Mm.
There's loads of them.
Oh my goodness.
Gosh, yeah. Well, anyway, it says it's akin to stirring up a hornet's nest, thus creating discomfort and even inducing anxiety.
A
Like what
lot
we were
of
saying before,
stress
for
as
some
well.
individuals. So
Yeah.
that's not what you really want, is it? If you're going to dare to share.
Well, you
know?
don't want to be anxious, do you?
Which is so it's important for you to know why you took the risk in the first
I think
place.
you take the risk to feel good.
You take-
well, not
obviously.
Obviously, you don't think I'm going to feel good when I do this, but you feel as if you want to let something out when you want to share it.
So it says it's good advice is to find your safe space. Sometimes it's
very
necessary for us
excellent.
to just unburden our mental load to be able to feel heard and supported.
That's right.
And to pave the way forwards in our lives.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's very good.
Discretion is advised, even in the words of Dr. Brown. Our stories are not meant for everyone. There you go. They're not meant for everyone. Hearing them is a privilege. And we should always ask ourselves this before we share. Who has earned the right to hear my story? There you go.
Perfectly put, isn't it?
Perfectly put. I mean, of course, you know, she's done it.
Yeah.
Who has earned the right to hear my story? There you go. I mean, we've been talking about this all the time. If we'd read this at the beginning of the podcast, it would have been finished. I hadn't even read this. Yeah. I mean, there it is. Who has earned the right to hear your story? So before you share, you know, who has earned the right?
Who has earned the
Right to hear my story. So there you go. Before you share, just think, who has earned the right to hear my story? I think that's just a question.
Is it you?
Well, it's me for you, that's for sure. I've earned the right to hear your stories. I'm hearing them every day. You can share your story with us because...
But you can maybe ask, is it you?
Is it you? Well, yeah, that's a good question.
I think you should ask that question.
You know, before sharing a story.
Before sharing, is it you? So be careful. Because, I mean, if you do have, like, when we were talking about sharing online, if you do have obviously you have your followers and everything, or you have your friends who can see your posts, and you have to say, is it you? All of you? Because sometimes, you know, if you haven't got all your settings right, it can be shared with other people that you may really not.
Yeah, that are not part of your group, your tribe.
Nothing to do with you, really.
Nothing to do with you. And they're not going to get it.
No.
And they
might get it. No, sometimes people have helped really lots of people as well with sharing. But I think if you're aware of that you're sharing and it's okay, that's already sort of a lot better than if you just go and share without really realising that that's what can happen sometimes.
You just blurt it out.
Well, you can maybe not really...
You haven't asked the question.
No, you haven't asked the question, exactly.
You know, like if you're just going to share with anybody, you know.
I think that's good advice.
Look, I don't even know this person. They don't even want me to share. I mean, some people just, you know,
Yeah, like those people that talk to you on the bus, but sometimes it can be really nice.
No, we like those people that talk
Yeah,
to us on the bus
obviously.
because we're people's people.
Yeah.
You know, we love anything to do with the human mind and human behaviour.
Yeah.
That's part of our studies.
And we miss it, don't we?
Well, we do miss it now with this COVID going on. Yeah, it's been
hard, hasn't it?
It's been hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but not everybody does.
Some people hate people talking to them on the bus.
Mind you, nowadays with these masks on,
You can't say much.
stops. Yeah.
And also with all the devices, all the phones and everything. I mean,
Yeah,
it's easier to get away if you don't want to talk to someone.
it is. So, I think you know, we've learned.
We've learned to ask the question.
We've learned to ask the question: have you earned the right? Is that it? I can't remember anymore.
To hear my story.
To hear my story, yeah. Who has earned the right to hear my story?
Have you earned the right? Have you earned the right to hear my story?
Ah, yes. Self-disclosure, it used to be called. We use more, you know,
Well, I think
self-disclosure.
a lot of this disclosures has done marvels, for instance, in the workplace. To be able to say, oh, I'm not feeling well at the minute, I want to go. Or,
Absolutely.
You know, and not before. It was just like you had to keep quiet about everything. But, you know, I'm not feeling up to it at the moment and things like that. Or I'm feeling vulnerable. We can say that now if you've got nice working.
Yeah.
Most of the times.
What, at work, you're saying I'm feeling vulnerable? I don't think they'd care much.
They would care. You joking?
Well,
Of course
where?
they would.
Where would they care?
Well, obviously.
I mean, you wouldn't just be saying, I feel vulnerable today, leave me alone. You have to get your job done.
I know you get your job done, but I think if you tell your colleagues, obviously it depends
If you
what
say I'm
you're
feeling
doing.
vulnerable because
and I might need a helping hand
this
or
and this has
something. It
happened.
can be really good, and
Yeah,
people
no.
will respect
Oh,
you,
no.
and it'll help them
Absolutely.
as well because they'll be able to tell you next time they're feeling
Are you
overwhelmed or
joking?
vulnerable or whatever.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that's a bit different already.
I don't know. It's all really more or less the same
It's
thing.
about sharing is caring, isn't it?
Yeah, we're all humans.
It's
We're
the other
all
way.
going.
You can say sharing is caring, but you
Yeah.
can also think, who do I want to share with? And
So share with care.
share with
we want to
care.
get
So
another slogan.
It's the both. It's
Dare
the
to
both
share.
sides.
Yeah,
Because
sharing.
if you do share your story, you're also caring about other people because you can help so many people that are going through the same thing that you've gone
They
through.
can relate to you.
They can relate to you. They can feel closer to you. So there's always a positive, I think, in every.
No. I think. Look, honestly, you know, being vulnerable and sharing your stuff is probably about 80% great.
Yeah.
The only thing is that you might get that vulnerability hangover afterwards, which I guess if you already know about it and you think, God, I could get a hangover from this, you'll be more careful who you're going to share with. And then if you do get the hangover, you just have to think, okay, I've been brave and courageous and I did this and there was a reason why you did it. You obviously thought you really wanted to share this stuff out to feel lighter, to share, unload your mental burden, as they say.
Which is very good for mental health as well.
Great for mental health.
Yeah, because that's one of the problems with what they're saying about men, that they don't share enough.
Well, actually,
In
men are
general,
becoming a lot more vulnerable these
good.
days, and they're not vulnerable in the sense they are sharing their vulnerabilities out, and they're talking more about their emotions. A younger generation, perhaps.
I think even though there's still a lot of struggle.
There is a lot of struggle.
Male suicide is the highest.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. Yeah,
And
we
so
know
why?
from our
because
clients.
we know that women talk to each other more, and so they're more likely to feel vulnerable. And
all you have to know is that vulnerability is a birthplace of love, belonging, joy, and courage, empathy, and creativity.
so it's an amazing thing.
It's an amazing. It also acts as a strengthening force in loving relationships. Well, we know that, don't we?
Yes.
If you're already with your loved one and you share,
That means you
I
care.
That must be. That means you care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just rhyming again. Yeah, it means you care. We must acknowledge that vulnerability is a necessity, even though utterly uncomfortable at times. Well,
that's what happens with a lot of the couples that come to us are divorcing.
Yeah.
And it's because they've actually stopped sharing.
Yeah, that is
and they
true.
they just, the wall comes up and they don't share anything. They, I'm not telling you kind of thing, which can seem quite infantile, but it also, that's what happens.
The guard is the wall. The guard is being, put up again, and you put your big
and they don't
suit of
share
armor
what's
on.
happened. Fine.
Close
going. That's
in.
the most dangerous thing.
It
I
is
think,
most
in a
dangerous.
relationship.
You're right. Yeah, when you start saying everything's fine, everything's okay, and God, that's so annoying as well. If you keep on asking someone, "You're all right," and they say, "Yeah, I'm fine," and they're not really fine.
But I think if you're already asking, you're already caring. It's when both partners,
when they don't ask,
when they
stop asking, "Are you okay?"
Well, stop asking questions.
I think
when the hardest.
I think this isn't just about loving relationships. This is about work colleagues as well.
Any relationship, really.
Yeah, any kind of relationship, friends, love.
Yes, friends as well.
Friends is terrible if you stop sharing with your friends. What's the point, really? You're supposed to share with your friends.
But then they become more like just acquaintances.
You
like
just have dinner
petty.
Yeah, and it's all superficial. God, I hate that.
Superficial stuff.
I mean, it's okay. I know you have to have these, what's it called? Like how's the weather today? And
these formalities.
The formalities, these kind of conversations. I know they're useful and everything.
I'm fine.
Yeah, but
how are you feeling? Fine. Thanks.
No, you don't ask how you're feeling. It's far too deep. Oh, no, you do. No, you do.
No, you don't say how you're feeling. You say, how are you?
You say, yeah, that's what I mean. How you're feeling is already a bit of a therapist kind of, you've got a deviation going there. You just say, how are you? And the response is, I'm fine, thank you. And you do not expect anyone to say, I'm going through a terrible time.
But people do now, so that's good.
No, they don't.
Some people do.
But not when asked after the question, how are you? If it's in a formal environment.
No, in a formal environment, you usually don't.
No. Maybe at a dinner party or something. But even then, a dinner party with who? Have they earned the right to hear your story?
Yeah.
Oh, dear me.
I don't know. How much time have we got left? Cause
I have no idea.
No. It's
anyway.
10 to 4.
There's a thing called developing shame resilience. Have you ever thought of that?
No, that's
you
good.
become resilient to shame. I mean, how cool is that?
Sounds awesome.
That sounds awesome. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, really.
No.
Obviously, we're having a bit of a laugh here.
No, it says, obviously we're laughing, yeah, but it says developing shame resilience can prove useful for overcoming vulnerability hangover as well.
Yes.
So in that context.
Obviously,
you're more
I think
resilient.
obviously, if you're sharing your story and you've thought, even if you haven't thought about it, but you're helping other people and you're helping yourself by sharing, then yes, you are always going to get the naysayers. There's always, especially you're going to get trolls, you're going to get people that don't like you for whatever reasons, because they're really, most of them are having a bad day themselves, but whatever. It's going to be like that.
Well, obviously, developing resilience to
resilience
everything
to that. It's a good thing because it makes you be able to go forward.
It makes
too much vulnerability is a problem, I think. If you're if you feel too vulnerable all the time, you find
you have to develop.
It can lead to never wanting to go out or doing anything.
Pathological disorders. Yeah. Obviously, we're really, this is like a different,
kettle of fish.
That's a different kettle of fish. Yeah, this is like more. So not really, that
general common sense.
General, yeah, I would say, this is just general stuff. If you become more resilient, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so.
I think so
At least
too.
it is for us, isn't it?
Well, how resilient did we have to become when we started the business?
Yes.
Years and years ago.
Being online,
becoming, branding ourselves as the English sisters, which were real sisters, if you're thinking about it, And then we used to, have all the stickers on the cars. Do you remember?
We did.
That was being vulnerable.
Very vulnerable.
We were being.
We got a lot of stick for it.
We
Well,
did.
I mean, people laughed at us a lot, didn't
Yeah,
they? Come on.
yeah, yeah.
What are you doing? Who
What
do
you
think
do?
are?
Yeah. That was a big lesson for us, wasn't it?
It was.
But we were resilient.
We were resilient because I think also because two of us,
Yeah.
there was already a little tribe there.
You're just not one person dancing in the
But
disco.
there's lots of
two
one
of
people
you.
that do dance on their
And
own.
good for
and
them.
good for them because they get other people dancing with them.
They're good for them.
Yes.
I whenever
Good
I
for you
see
if
someone
you're dancing on your own.
good for you, yeah, you're there and you
You're
just really
doing
want to go out and boogie or whatever you want to do on that dance floor, and nobody else wants to dance, and you're the only one there. That's what we felt like when we first started, but there was two of us dancing. But
it was almost felt like one because we're like twins.
yeah.
Very similar.
But it was still difficult. You're right. It was
really
difficult with the
Even
family,
with your
even
own
with
family
our own
members.
family.
They just so don't know what's hit
Just
them,
stop
really.
it.
What are
Yeah,
you
you know,
doing?
the general thing was stop it.
Yeah, you've got kids.
Yeah, get on with it. Yeah, you've got kids. Take them to school. Do that. Do your normal work. What are you doing? Why are you sharing? That was it, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
It was, yeah.
But we got over that.
We got over that and we become resilient. And so let's hope that you'll become more resilient too and that you'll share with care.
Share with care.
Share with care and dare to share, but share with care.
Dare to share.
You can share with us if you like. We'll be here.
We will.
We will. And we'll listen to you. And even though we laugh a lot, we do take
things
everything very
I think
seriously.
you have to kind of laugh because what are you going
This
to
is
do? There's a
us.
saying here: if you don't
Yeah.
laugh, you're going to cry.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with everything that's going on in the world, and nobody is.
No.
I mean, nobody's got a perfect life. Nothing ever happens.
No.
There's always the yin and yang with everything. There's good
Yeah.
and bad, good and bad,
good and bad.
bad. Sometimes good.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So
But with everything, it's
we like to
like
be
that.
light.
So we like to laugh.
We laugh a lot. And,
I mean, we find each other quite funny, don't we? That's the truth of it.
we find each other quite
And
funny, but
also other people funny.
yeah,
We can see the funny side
we
of
see
life.
the funny side. But we're
I
always
mean,
we're
why?
always gonna we want to
Yeah.
laugh with you though.
Yes.
This is it. This is
Yeah. So if you want to have a little bit of a laugh and just listen to us talking about things like
this vulnerability. I don't know what we'll be talking about next week. It just whatever.
We're
Really,
gonna
what
have
we're
to-
being inspired by our clients. We're going to be inspired by what you give us. If you want
Exactly.
us to talk about anything in particular, we just have a little discussion as if we're just chatting over a cup of tea,
Yeah.
like what we do here.
Yeah.
This is what we do all the time anyway.
Yeah, this is
We have massive discussions over lots
About
of
life, really.
About life, yeah. Most of it's about life and relationships.
What's going
So
on.
if you want to share anything with us, this is a safe place.
Dare
we
to
can
share with
become your
us.
tribe.
Yes, we will. Lots of love
And
and smiles.
smile. See you next time.
Bye-bye.